What is up, YouTube? Robbie Vapes back again with another video, and today we're going to be doing something I haven't done yet and hopefully never have to do again. We are going to be doing a re-review or a re-review or a revised review. Basically what I'm talking about here is we are going to be looking at the Freakshow Mini again. Yes, I fucked up. Go figure, right? I messed up completely my last video. I took one of my commenters' advice and I've done a whole bunch of rebuilds on this. I love it. I'm enjoying it. I haven't got any spit back once I started building it properly. And I'll get into some details here in just a minute. Before we get into that, you may have noticed what's behind me. That's right, guys. Right somewhere around here, you can see a vape shelf starting to form. Now, obviously, what we have here, if you can see, is not much. Now, the reason why there's not much on that shelf just yet is because I'm still kind of working on how I want to set things up. I just got the shelves today. I'm really excited. They're really nice. Got them from my work. They were going to get rid of them, so I figured why not take them. And I've got some vape gear right up here, including, I don't know if you can see it, it's actually on one of the middle shelves, what I'll be reviewing next. So it's a clone. It's a clone RDA, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to tell you what RDA it is. If you want to guess, by all means, guess below. I'm super stoked on this RDA, although this video isn't about that one. This video is about this guy right here, the Freakshow Mini. Now, I just zoomed out a little bit so you can see the shelf. I'm going to zoom back in here just so we can focus again on the main prize, and that is the Freakshow Mini. Now, this thing, I gotta be honest, if you saw my first review, it was bad. I gave it a really bad review. I said I hated it. I swore a lot in that first video. And thankfully, one of my commenters, I'm gonna name him just by his first name, hopefully he doesn't mind, Andrew made a comment. It was phenomenal. He was really helpful. He helped me understand how to build on this thing properly, and where I went wrong, and so far it has helped tremendously, okay? I have a build in here I'm really happy with. It's 7 wrap, 24 gauge Canthal, which I probably shouldn't have done, but it actually works out really well in the perfect environment. And I mean the perfect environment. This thing is just nuts, okay? But you have to be extremely careful. This is not for beginners. I said that in the first video I did, and I stand by it. This thing is extremely finicky, okay? We'll get a little bit up and close with this thing, just briefly, show you what I mean, show you some of the tips and tricks to this, but in the meantime, I'm going to take another hit off this because it's just so fucking good. Damn! Look at that. Not even an ounce, not even a drop of spit back on that. It was just so good. Now that I know how to build it, it's really fun to build on. But again, it is a challenge. So a few things I'm going to talk about here really quickly. Actually, I got a new drip tip, by the way. I'm just going to show it off. It's pretty fucking badass. It's a 2-puff strip tip. It was $5, which is actually pretty nice for my vape budget right about now. The drip tip itself actually has adjustable airflow, which I guess we'll show off in the up close and personal because I'm not going to make a video just on a drip tip. But yeah, so I was wrong, guys. A few things you have to know about this device. If you just, if you want to get the quick details of it, there's a few really important details. The first thing is that you definitely want to make sure that everything is in the exact spot that it needs to be. It has to be exactly over the air holes. And I'll show you in the close-up what I mean. But before I get into that, I just want to talk about it a little bit and describe what I'm about to show you in the video. So you want the coils to be exactly over the airflow. You want it to make sure it's not too close. If you get it too close to the center, you end up causing spit back. If it's too close to the sides or to the outside of it and it touches this little top cap here, you end up shoring it out. So when I say it has to be perfect, it has to be perfect. It is a little bit finicky, especially if you're working with bigger gauge wire, like 24 gauge wire, for example. You're going to want to make sure it is in the perfect spot because it can mess up real quick. The other thing I want to point out is that you also want to make sure it's not too high because otherwise you get spit back as well. And you want to make sure it's actually not too low as well because if it's too low, it's going to hit the deck of the RDA and it's going to short out again. Now, believe me, this is where my recommendation for an ohm meter really comes in handy, because you do not want to short this out on a device. You could damage the device. Always check with an ohm reader first. Always make sure you check what your ohms are at. Make sure it's not jumping around, otherwise you have a short. Most of these devices are protected, but you don't want to risk it. The Sigelli 150 watt, which I'm vaping on right now, for example, was 150 bucks. It is not something I want to damage, so I'm going to make damn sure that I don't damage it. And that was part of the reason in the first video why I built it so close to the middle, because I didn't want it to get shorted out by this top cap. I also built it up really high, so I basically did everything wrong in the first build. Not only did I not give it enough time, I only gave it an hour. It's now been about 9 or 10 days since I bought this thing, and I'm starting to really love it. But apart from that, like I said, you know, not only did I not build it, or did I build it too close to the middle, I also built it really high. The reason for it being so high was I didn't want it to short out on the deck itself, and the reason it was still close to the middle is the exact same reason I just mentioned, so it didn't short out on the sides. So I really fucked up that first video. I apologize to you, the viewers, because I may have steered you away from a potentially really fun device. But again, this is not for beginners. It is very finicky. I stand by that statement. I will swear by that statement. This device is very tricky to build on, and you have to have an ohm reader if you really want to do it properly. Just saying. So with that being said, we're going to do a really quick up and closey time kind of thing. We're going to get up close and personal, down and dirty. We're going to do whatever we want to do and just look at this thing and admire it for what it is. It's a fucking awesome RDA. And I know my attitude has changed completely from the first video, but I figured let's throw in as many curse words as I can, just for fun. So with that being said, let's get down and dirty and check her out. Alright guys, we're up close and personal with this device now. You can see the new drip tip, by the way. There's the airflow control. It's currently all the way shut closed. All I have to do is twist it to open it up. And you'll start to see the airflow here. Right there. So you can kind of see it. There's a little hole there. There's a hole on both sides. You can see through it a little bit on the right angle. So that's the drip tip I got. Really stoked about this. It actually works really well. I use it on a lot of devices now. It's one of my favorite drip tips. But this video isn't necessarily about the drip tip. It's about this beauty. That's right. This is the Freakshow Mini. This is the Azure version, which I believe is a clone of the Vapor Shark version, I think. But yeah, so you can see here, you got your airflow down here, dual airflow, of course. This is if you want to do single coil mode, which I actually really enjoy on this device. I've done a couple single coil builds. It's really fun to work on. And I'll just open up the top here. Kind of have a little bit of a concave there, not too much, but again, if you build it right, it won't matter. So here's the build I have on here. There's a few key things to this build. First thing is that you don't want to use too much cotton. In fact, this is kind of pushing it. I've used a little bit more than I should, but yeah, you don't want to be using too much cotton. The other thing, as I mentioned, you want to have it directly over this air hole here, and same with on this side. You can kind of see how it comes up. Same thing below. You want to make sure it's not touching the deck, but you'd also want to make sure it's not too high. Hopefully you can see right there. If I maybe do this, it's like barely not touching. It's pretty close. Same with on this side. It's a little higher up actually, but you can kind of just see if I push down a little bit, it should be okay. And yeah, so you want to make sure it's not too close to these this building deck right here. Same thing in the middle. You want to make sure it's not too close to the middle. In fact, this part might be a little close for what you want to do, but you really just want to make sure that it is like the perfect build. Once you get the hang of it, you will get used to it. Spend more than an hour with it, which is, you know, what I didn't do in my first video. Take some time with it, explore it, make sure you know what you want to do, and just, you know, build on it the way it needs to be built on. Don't try and customize anything. Don't try and do weird coils on this like I did. It doesn't work. It has to be it's really finicky, okay? So I'm just going to stick by that. Yeah, so this is the coil I built. Again, like I said, 7 wraps, 24 gauge Canthal. A little too much cotton in here, but it works. And just for kicks, let's just fire it up real quick. Now that is how something's supposed to fire. And actually, just to prove, because I was an asshole in my last video, I'm going to prove that there's no spit back by putting my hand right over top of it. completely dry. That's right, guys. No spit back in this. When it's built properly, it will work. I apologize for before. Let's get back up top and let's finish this video off real quick. All right, guys, we're back up top. Just wanted to point out a few things down there real quick. I'll try not to keep this too long, but yeah, basically to summarize, I fucked up. Let's be honest, guys. I really messed up on this one because I almost lost out on a golden opportunity here and on a absolutely tremendous device because of my own stupidity and my own, my own lack of patience. Really, if I would have spent the time I should have with this device, I would have had a better review for you guys the first time around. And had it not been for Andrew who made that comment, I would have never enjoyed this as much as I do. I'm gonna take one more hit and we're gonna show you what this thing's capable of. So good, the flavor is there. Just like I said before, there's no spit back. I was taking some really hard pulls on that. Not a single bit of spit back on that. The vapor production is excellent. This thing, it's just absolutely a gold mine right here. But again, it is for experienced people only. I do not recommend this to beginners. This is not a good first RDA. Go work on something a little bit easier first. Get to know what you're doing. And then maybe try this out. You know, get something like a Stellaire, maybe something like a Mutation X, which is really fun to work on and easy to work on. Even like one of the Mephistos, the clones or whatever, if you want to go that route, that's fine. It's got really nice wide post holes, it's easier to work on. But for this, it's a little bit more challenging. And I'm not trying to insult anyone by saying that. I don't want to offend anyone by saying that, but I'm just saying, myself, I've been working on RDAs for 5 months now, I think, 4 or 5 months now at least. And even I had trouble with this. Now, I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not an expert, as we found out from my first video where I completely dropped the ball. But I should have known better, and I should have spent the time to test it and make it work. By not doing that, I failed you guys, the viewers. I gave you a shitty-ass review, which you do not deserve, and I apologize for that immensely. This little guy right here, it's easily top 2 RDAs I have. And the question that I keep coming back to is, does it beat my Mutation X? And I'm iffy on it because I can't explore different coil builds on it, which is kind of a downside. But at the same time, the vapor production and the flavor out of this is like nothing I've ever had before. This beats my flavor build on my Stellaire I have. This thing is amazing. I'm really happy with it. Now that I've had a chance to use it, I'm using it more and more each day. Like I said in my other video I just posted, I think it was actually just yesterday, on the Magnus V2, I was cheating on those devices with this one because I just couldn't get away from it. I couldn't put it down. I love it. Honestly, guys, I'm sorry I let you guys down. I'm not trying to contradict myself. I'm not trying to sound like, I don't give bad reviews. But if I'm going to give a bad review, it has to be a fair bad review. It has to be something I've spent the time with to actually fairly say that I don't like it. An hour or 2 is not a fair amount of time. That's why the next video I'll actually be reviewing the guy in the background here somewhere. I'm going to be doing the first thoughts and the unboxing today. Then I'm going to do the vape review on it and the final thoughts probably on Friday next week. Today's Friday. Today's Friday, so I'll give it a week. Maybe I'll put it out on Thursday if I'm feeling adventurous or not. But really, I got to give it at least 5 or 6 days minimum, because had I not, I easily would have lost it on this one, and I may end up letting you guys down again, and I don't want to do that. I want to make sure I have full knowledge of the products I'm reviewing, and I want to make sure I have full experience with them so I can fairly judge them. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope you watch this video, especially if you've seen the first one, because this is a huge revision to this. I am so happy with it, and I really don't want to steer anyone away from it, especially now that I know how to do it. So until next time, YouTube, thanks for watching, and happy vaping.